Hello everyone, welcome to Excel 2016 training. In this video, we'll have a quick tour of the Excel 2016 interface. Here is the Excel interface, and let's first take a look at the spreadsheet or the worksheet. So by default, when you start a blank workbook, what you get is one worksheet. The worksheets are listed here at the bottom as tabs. So we have one worksheet here. By clicking on the plus icon, I get more worksheets to my workbook. So the data is entered into the worksheet. Depending on which one is active, you'll be entering data into that particular worksheet or viewing that particular worksheet. Say for example, let's go back to sheet 1 and let me enter a text here. So now the word training, we entered that into the sheet 1. Okay. Now let's take a look at what is an active cell. So on the worksheet or here, every rectangular box is called a cell. And the one that has a green border or the one that is being selected by your mouse is called active cell. So when you try to enter data with a cell selected, the data gets entered into that particular cell. Now this cell has certain properties, meaning not the height and width, we'll talk about that later, but in terms of rows and columns, see, these are the columns like A, B, C, D. These are the alphabets at the top. These are the columns, and the ones on the left hand side, these are the rows. Let's get back to the cell where we entered the word training. So this particular cell, it's called E6. E represents the column, and number 6, when you select this, it represents the row. So when you select a particular cell, the address of the cell is the column followed by the rows. If you go one cell above, it is still within the same column, but the row has changed and it is E5. And this particular thing here is called the name box. Now let us take a quick look at the ribbon. The ribbon is the top portion where you have all these options, icons, commands that you see. That's a ribbon. And within the ribbon, you have various tabs. And depending on the tab you select, you see the corresponding commands or options. So if you want to work with data, most of the data related options / commands are listed within that area. So you can switch around your tabs and access the corresponding commands or options. Now let us take a quick look at the formula bar. The formula bar is located above the worksheet and below the ribbon. So that's this one here. And this formula bar displays the contents of the cell. So it could be the text you see, or it could be the actual formula. So let me show you that. Let me go ahead and select the cell that contains the word training, and you see training there. And let me select the cell that contains 100. You see 100 there. Now let me select the cell that contains 1500. Now you actually see some sort of a formula, but you don't see the number 1500 because the text that you see or the information that you see within the cell is being generated by using this formula. And when you go ahead and click it, you will notice that all the cells that are being used as a part of that formula are selected as well. That kind of gives you an indication. Okay, that's about the formula bar. Next, navigation. You can navigate through the Excel spreadsheet using the scroll bars. This is the vertical scroll bar. If you have more data, pages and pages of data, you can nicely use this scroll bar to do that. And if your data is spread horizontally, then you can use the horizontal scroll bar to navigate to the data. Now let us take a look at the status bar. The status bar is at the very bottom of the Excel interface, And there are a few things there. You can, depending on the activity going on, you will actually see some additional information on the status bar. Say for example, right now it says ready on the left hand side, and if I select a cell and start entering something, you will see enter there. So it has changed at the bottom. And one other quick tip here is, say for example, when you select certain numbers, on the bottom on the status bar, you see the average, count, and sum. You don't need any formulas, you just select and the Excel does that for you. In addition, you can also zoom in, zoom out. That's a zoom control. I can move to the right. As you can see, the size of the not the font, but it's magnified. So it's just zooming in. It's 220% right now, and you can make it smaller depending on the amount of data you have, and depending on the view area and what you want to look at. So you can use that to your advantage. So you can zoom in, zoom out. And between these zoom control and this average, count, sum, that they are being displayed because we selected the numbers. We have 3 icons in between. The first one is a normal. The second is a page layout. When you click on that, you can see the page layout. So you have almost like a preview, so what you expect when you print it. And the third one is a page layout, so you have an idea. So we'll look at the views later when we handle views and when we talk about printing. So that's it about the quick tour, and I will see you in the next video.